Hello, Hanest family. Motherbird here is happy to see you guys. Welcome or welcome back to the nest. This is Hanest with Rose Joy, where self-care, soul care, and healthcare blend to build wholeness. And so before I even get further into the video, when I was just preparing to shoot this video, we just got news that Honorable former Prime Minister of Kenya, Raila Amolo Odinga, has passed on. He's no longer with us. And guys, when such things happen, they make you start thinking about life. Just makes me contemplate about how great he was, the things he has fought for, the things he has stood up for, a few feathers that he had to ruffle. But all in all, he was a legend. Sad when people actually start talking in past tense. But anyway, he was a legend and will still remain to be a legend when it comes to matters about politics in this country. And all I can just say is may his soul rest in peace, and may his family, wherever they are, find peace or be consoled. People will learn, or people will use some of his philosophies to drive this country in a better place. So I just felt like I need to put it out here and say that I stand with the family and tunaiombea. I feel like because of whatever is going on, somehow my thought process has been disrupted, but I believe that we will continue, or we'll find our way back, or we'll just see how to navigate this conversation together. So lovely Hanest squad, or Hanest family, today we are going to talk about something that doesn't come naturally to most of us, and that is how to stop rushing through your own life. That's the art of slowing down in general. Many a times when we are rushing through life, you eat rushing, you walk rushing, you work rushing. It's like there's this thing that you need to catch up with that you just never seem to catch up with. So it gets to a point where you feel like you have been running for the most part of your life. And this is not a good place to be, or why I'm even addressing this thing is what I came to realize is that sometimes what we really call ambition is avoidance, and what we call discipline is just us not wanting to connect, especially those of us who are nurturing, who are building, who are moving things and just doing life in general. How do we get to a point where we are not rushing through life, but we are living? That's the word. We are living. You stop rushing through life as if there is something that you need to catch up with, but just start living each day at a time, one day at a time. Now, slowing down is not laziness, it is spiritual discipline. This is just a realization that I'm not rushing anywhere, or just that consciousness or that acceptance that you're not rushing anywhere. Life calls forth that we move moment after moment. Instead of you just thinking about, I know that because of the goals that we've set for ourselves, or because of the world and the system that we live in, we have somehow been put into this schedule where you're supposed to do this after this, followed by this, followed by that. You start operating like machines, which is not how life is supposed to move, by the way. Because we have this structured way of thinking, we tend to live not from the present moment, but we stop experiencing life. We stop experiencing life moments from what it is that it's being offered to us during that time. Why do we rush in the first place? Because, guys, I came to realize once you start understanding the why factor in everything that happens, that you do, that someone says, everything that happens, once you start understanding or handling the why factor to it, you get to understand so many things, because behind the why lies your motives, lies your beliefs, lies your faith. We'll just find you taking action on some things. We'll see you behaving in a certain way, and before we start maybe judging you, or we say just making opinions about what it is that you've done, we forget that there's a whole thought process, or there's a whole system behind that action. Before I even took this camera to come and talk to you, the camera on my phone. I'm actually manifesting a camera. God, send help. I'm shooting from my phone, by the way. So by the time I take this phone of mine, I set it up on a tripod, and then I start shooting this video. There's a whole thought process that has informed that decision, and you will come to realize that is my why. When you get to know why do I do this thing that I do? Why did I set up this channel? Why are we even talking about rushing, not rushing through life? You'll come to realize there's a whole system behind it. And so, why do we rush in the first place? We rush because we feel like we don't have time. That is one thing that I know we rush. We know that we have deadlines that we've set for ourselves or that the society has set for us. And so we are always trying to beat that deadline. Yenye inakwambia, unafaa ukuwa umefanya hii stuff, unafaa ukuwa ulienda sijui wapi, ama inafaa ukuwa ulifanya 1, 2, 3. And I know we have deadlines, or when it comes to the jobs that we do on a professional level, of course, there's supposed to be a structure that will inform or that will guide us into achieving certain objectives. And that structure calls for following certain steps for you to achieve that goal in the end. But now, this is where this structure now becomes how we live our lives every single day. Because you feel like you don't have time, you start rushing. You don't take time to think through situations well. You don't take time to rest. You don't take time to soul search, or you don't take time to just analyze the situation and see, by there, how are things? How are they going? Just evaluate how you've done a certain thing before moving on to the next. Because huna time, you just want to move. Let's go. Let's do it, and do it. Someone says time is an illusion, and we don't own time. Like, God is the owner of time. And that's why we find we even have a problem with him when it comes to certain things happening in our lives, because we have time for ourselves. Like, we have already created a certain concept about time. So if I, as Joy, believes that by a certain period of time, I'm supposed to have done 1, 2, 3. Now, if that plan of mine doesn't fit with God's time, then I have a problem. I panic. I get discouraged. I feel like something is wrong. But in real sense, something is not wrong. Actually, my timing is the one that's wrong, but everything else is fine. Time is also one of those things that we really need to look keenly and just ask ourselves, why do I feel like I don't have time? And even change our minds change the concept or the belief system that we have around time. And then another thing is that sometimes we rush because we are afraid to be seen lazy, or we are afraid to be seen not doing something. This one would apply more to someone who, especially if you don't have a traditional kind of job, or maybe you're even unemployed, so you are just winging it through life. Now, someone may ask you, so what are you up to? What are you doing? Or what are you working on at the moment? Because of those questions, and we know those questions usually come. In as much as those who are asking these questions may not have ill intentions from where they are coming from. It's just a normal question that people ask. Unaendelea aje? Those normal questions. But for others, especially if you don't have a solid answer to that, you always feel like, I need to be on the go, so that when so and so asks me, or so that when someone looks in my life, they may see that Nani's working on this thing, or Nani's doing this thing. And so we are not living, we are just afraid to be seen as lazy, or nothing is going on, or there's nothing interesting about our lives, which is not true. Many moments in our lives are interesting, moments that you may not capture on camera, by the way. Those moments where you just go outside and the sun is just shining brightly out there, you've just had a good meal, or you just talked to a long-term friend over the phone, catch up, and you felt, that conversation was so refreshing. That is something interesting going on with your life. You walking out there, you going for shopping, you talking to a loved one, you choosing to engage in your hobbies is something interesting about your life. So you come to realize you don't have to prove anything. Okay, when you decide that you're going to live life on your own terms. You have already identified what is valuable to you, what you stand up for, and what's important for you. You don't have to rush. And then the other third thing that makes us rush is because we feel like when we stop, things will fall apart. And this one speaks to my heart, speaks to my life. Yani hapa ndio penye niko. By the way guys, I am a recovering perfectionist. I just discovered that after doing self-work, after doing inner work and all these things, you come to realize there are some things that you struggle with. And for me, I have been struggling with perfectionism because I want things to look perfect. I want my things to go a certain way. And so I've always found myself in that cycle where I'm doing and doing and doing and doing just because I feel like if I stop doing, everything that I've built will crumble. And this is just a perspective that I have acquired, or if you are like me, this is just a perspective that we have acquired. It's not the reality of life. Like, who told you ukipumzika things are not going to go well? And I've even tested that thing where I intentionally choose to rest. I intentionally choose not to do certain things, and nothing fell apart. Everything went on well. In fact, I rested, I rejuvenated, came up with even better ideas, better things to do. And so I just asked myself, so where did I get this concept that if I just do things in their own pace, or if I even choose to rest, things are going to crumble down? Of course, it stems from my perfection mentality that wewe lazima ufanye hii, huwezi ati unataka kupumzika. Hey. And then in this digital era, now that I'm also building something in these digital spaces, many times you are told anytime you're not online putting information or creating content, someone else is taking your light, or someone else is dividing, or that time when they are supposed to be focused on you, then they are focusing on someone else. But that didn't sit well with me. First of all, why would I feel there is no other joy out there? There is nobody, absolutely no one out there who is doing things the way I'm doing things. Why would I imagine that if I stop, hey, that other joy is going to get the applause? How? The things that I stand up for, my values, my personality, and everything about me is unique for me. And so when I serve you as my little birds, as I serve you with this information, your story, anytime I'm not creating content, attention is taken away from me, just doesn't make sense. I am just me. If I'm not there, I'm not there. And if I'm here, I'm here. This idea that, oh, you have to post I don't know how many times in a day, naangalia hivi, I tell myself, okay, that's not mine, or that's not my portion. And maybe it works for some people, but for me, and what I'd also want to encourage you guys is that kind of a life, it's not worthwhile. I think it just keeps you on this loop of now rushing through life. What we're trying to see, how best can we just live for the moment? How best can we just do things moment by moment, live one day at a time, enjoy life, be grateful for what is on our hands at the moment, and just believe that tomorrow has its own things and it will take care of itself. Now, what does it cost us when we don't take time to slow down? Or what does rushing through life cost us in the end? First of all, it robs you peace of mind, because you're in your head, you're telling yourself that this thing I'm supposed to be doing, I'm supposed to be working on 1, 2, 3, I'm supposed to be doing this and that. You understand that you will not feel relaxed, you will not feel comfortable, because your mind is already telling you how you are falling back, you are behind time when it comes to certain things. Peace is one thing that's going to be robbed. And then personally, I think a life without peace, in fact there is no life without peace. Anytime peace is disrupted, every time people are in circumstances where peace has been disrupted, either internal peace or even external peace, when we talk about political instability, chaos, riots and all those things, you can't function well. Because that peace concept that comes with you just knowing everything is okay, everything is fine, we will be okay, it goes because of those chaos that are there in the moment. So, as we've said, it's not worth it. You're kuishi tu in constant panic, constant worrying, especially on the things that you have created for yourself or things that you have just imagined in your mind. They're now stealing your peace. that's something that's definitely not worth it. And then the second thing that is going to cost you is losing touch with your body. And this one happens when you start operating like a machine. You no longer feel yourself in your body. You see, the way I've seated here, I feel like I'm in my body. If I have sat in a certain position na naanza kusikia ni kama my leg kidogo is straining, I adjust myself, yeah, because I feel like I'm in my body. Once you lose touch with your body, as women, you understand that your body communicates to you. Your body actually has that wisdom to give you nudges about someone, about certain situations. How many times have you ever met someone and your body just froze? Or how many times did you just get into a certain environment or in a certain place and it just didn't feel well? Intuition. You have to be in tune with your body for you to get that intuition, because sometimes people call it like nywele ilisimama at the back of your head. I don't know if that's just how do we call these things, a proverb, or I don't know, like when your hair stands at the back of your head, or someone tells you goosebumps, yeah, you just feel cold all of a sudden. For others, could be your stomach. And for me, for the longest time, my anxiety or unsettledness, if that's a word, usually appeared through my stomach. Let's say I'm panicking about a situation or I'm scared about something. I just feel like someone has poured hot water inside my stomach. Unasikia tu shoo, like someone has just poured a whole bucket of hot water. You see, now that's a clue for me that we are anxious and maybe something is not okay and whatever it is, but it's an alarm in my body. But if I'm disconnected from my body, then I won't get those alarms. And sometimes your body does that to protect you. In those places where logic may fail you, you may just not know what to comprehend about a certain situation. Your body might just act on something and you'll just feel like I may not really point a finger to this thing, but I'm not into this particular thing because of how I feel. That's why it's important that we don't lose touch with your body, and then we also lose touch with our emotions. And once you lose touch with your emotions, guys, you start behaving like a psychopath, because emotions are those things that drive our actions. For instance, you remember I told you somehow I thank God that I finally found my way back to my trail of thought and I'm focused. Before I had already told you that Raila has died, and so I felt somehow, those emotions that, oh my God, he's gone, his family, his legacy in Kenyan politics. No, it's just so many emotions that came, and because of those emotions I felt sad. And then I also felt maybe because of what has happened, things are not going to be the same politically the way they used to be. So of course, being a person of his kind, haungempuuza, lazima alikuwa na say to many things. So of course politics are going to change. We have those winds of change that are already blowing, and you ask yourself, I hope it gets better for us. I hope it gets better for this country. Because of how he fought for this country, I also feel that responsibility to fight for this country in my own small ways. By the way, you guys, I hope you're registering as voters because at the end of the day, that vote, let's not lose trust in our voting system. That's the official way of making sure that the right people get in power. How about we do our due diligence as citizens that love this country, that want the best for this country? We go ahead and register as voters. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Because of the emotions that moment created, I now feel like, yeah, he has gone. He did his role and he achieved some things. Because of that thing that I felt like I also want to have a role in making things better for this country in however small way that I will. But when my day will come, I usually say when God will call me back home and says, hey, yeah, beautiful lady, it's your time to come back home. I want to know that at least I made it better for my country, for those whom I will have left behind. That's why emotions are important. Once you lose your emotions, you become inhuman, which is true. Empathy goes away, joy goes away, happiness goes away. all these emotions that are supposed to make you human go away because you can't feel them. Someone is going through a problem, you can't empathize with them, or something good has happened in your life and you can't just have that joy. The last thing that we lose when we rush through life, we lose touch with God. And not because God goes away, but because the noise or the activities that we are doing become louder and louder. And by the way, guys, this I'm speaking from experience, still walking through this journey of spirituality, this journey with God. But I came to realize that God is found in stillness. You can't be rushing through life and find God. In fact, rushing through life is a system created by the enemy to make you distracted from the things of God. The fact that you are rushing through life, there is one thing for sure: you won't have time to pray, you won't have time to read the word, you won't have time to reflect and think just about your life, just building that relationship with God. You can't do that because there's always something that's already occupying your mind. You just keep running like that, doing all those things, you're going to lose this relationship with God. From where I am, I believe that if you put God at the center of it all, there's so much, being alive or being human is heavy. There's so much going on around the world, there's so much happening in our lives, and I just feel like God is that anchor, those pillars that hold you like this. When winds come and blow through your life, you still stand firm. When you get bad news, when crazy things are happening around you, more reason why you won't lose your mind is because there's someone who is holding you, and that person holding you is God in this case. And that's why soul care is a very important pillar. You can imagine these whole things, you rushing through life, making you lose touch with God. You are going to have it rough, you're going to struggle, you're going to have a hard time dealing with other human beings, even just coping with life in itself. More reason why anything that makes you lose touch with God is not worth it. Now that we've realized that I am rushing through life, how do I slow down without losing momentum? Because at the same time, we don't want to go to the very end of the spectrum where it's like now you decide you're not moving, you're not doing anything, unakaa tu hapo kama zombie. No, there's a way you can slow down and not lose momentum. Is some kind of a shock absorber or some kind of doing servicing in your life so that you can enjoy life and enjoy it more abundantly and in a wholesome way. The very first thing is we are going to create sacred poses. Sacred poses, these are poses that involve God in our lives. This is you intentionally choosing to carve out time to spend with God, where you tell yourself, my work has to wait, my family has to wait, my business has to wait. I need this time with my God. I need to rejuvenate. I need to be given strength. I need to know Him more and more. That's when you'll find that polepole umeanza kufanyaje, kurudisha yourself back in line. And then the second thing is also to redefine productivity. You remember when we said that sometimes you are rushing because you want people to see that you are working on something or you have something going on. You have defined productivity by doing things. Already you've told yourself that, I can only be productive by working and working and working. I have to have this long list in my to-do list. That is not productivity. Rest is also a form of being productive, because rest will help you. Number one is relax. After you've done something, after you've done a good job, take time to relax, because it's also a way of you telling your body, thank you body, or thank you brain for enabling me go through this process. Because of that, we are going to rest so that you are energized again, so that you refill again. When other responsibilities call, we are in a position to attend to them. 3 is listen to your limits. And I'm pretty sure even as we speak right now, already burnout inachungulia tu hivi hapo kwa kona. It's just like we are about to lose it, and you can even feel it emotionally. Physically, you are so tired, you are so drained. That is a clue that, you know what, I have reached my limit. You noticing that once I can only do a certain thing over a certain period of time. You can tell someone, after every 3 months I need to go on a break. You can decide to go on a vacation or a staycation, or you take a leave day after every 3 months, because you've actually noticed your limits. That's when it's comfortable for you to carve out time for you to rest. These are just a few that I think that you can use to help you slow down without losing momentum. And once you get in touch with the rhythm of life, life stops becoming performative. It becomes an experience. Yes, that's the word. Life stops being performative. It becomes an experience. You're enjoying each and every moment that life puts on your plate. I want us to challenge ourselves this way, to be present, to be alert, to be in our body. When something good happens, I want you to just sit back and reflect on that thing. Sit through it well and be grateful. If it is something sad again that has happened, again, don't fight those emotions. Feel those emotions, label them, and then from that point, that's when you'll be able to know how to move forward with whatever circumstances that are in your life. And our parting shot is, life is not meant to be a race, it's meant to be received. The same way you just found yourself here, it's you to embrace the life that God has given you and just live. So guys, I've really enjoyed making this episode, talking to you, speaking my mind out, and knowing very well that after analyzing this situation that we struggle with, moving on forward, we are going to be gentle, we are going to move with grace, and we are going to experience life without feeling guilty or without feeling that we are losing our worth, because we choose to live life moment by moment, day by day. So if you have reached till this moment, thank you so much. Thank you so much for keeping me company, and I appreciate you so much, and I wish you all the best when it comes to building yourself up, when it comes to making yourself better. I just want us to have a wholesome life and wholesome experience, and so I wish you all the best. And for those who are yet to subscribe, kindly subscribe. Let us grow this channel. Like, comment, share, so that this video can equally be recommended to other people who need this message. And with that, I just say thank you so much for being in this nest, and for sure over time you'll come to realize that you picking this particular nest is worth it. Till next time, goodbye.